LA County District Attorney Nathan Hochman calls the Menendez brothers' request for a new trial a, quote, Hail Mary effort. The DA filing a 132-page response rejecting their claims of new evidence, including allegations of sexual abuse by their father. Lyle and Eric Menendez were convicted of killing their parents at their Beverly Hills home in 1989. The brothers argue they acted in self-defense. Their parole hearings are set to happen in about 2 weeks from today. The Menendez brothers' attorney, Mark Geragos, is here to respond to Hochman's renewed opposition. Good to see you. Thanks for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you. I'm not going to ask Alex where he's going because
you can.
That's on a need-to-know basis.
Yeah, he'll be making that announcement in due time. How's that for a tease?
Okay, yeah, due time. I'm going to start answering questions that you give me, like Alex's.
In due time? That's not acceptable for you, sir.
I thought I was getting a job with you. You got all the cash. All right, go ahead.
Okay, getting back to this issue. So I want to get your reaction to a portion of the 132-page filing that Nathan Hochman filed yesterday. So let's put this up on the screen. He says the central defense of the Menendez brothers at trial has always been self-defense, not sexual abuse. The jury rejected this self-defense defense and finding them guilty of the horrific murders they perpetrated. 5 different appellate, state, and federal courts have affirmed those convictions, and nothing in the so-called new evidence challenges any of those determinations. Why is DA Hochman wrong?
Well, he's too smart to actually have made that statement because he knows, and everybody knows, including the lawyers who tried the case, any lawyer who's graduated from law school, that self-defense was not what they claimed. It was called imperfect self-defense. There is a huge difference.
What is that difference?
Knows that. Imperfect self-defense is that it's not objectively reasonable. Imperfect self-defense means that you do not get a free pass. You are not innocent. So I don't know what he's arguing because that isn't what was tried. What they are saying, what the two pieces of new evidence are, the DA in both trials argued that they were not sexually abused. Both of these new pieces of evidence, number one, a letter that Eric wrote to his cousin Andy a full 8 months before the killings, detailed his father's predatory behavior of him, and the then declaration of Roy Rosello many years after the fact, which was not known to anybody at the time, that Jose Menendez was raping Roy Rosello, who was a member of the band Menudo, at that same time. Both of those go to the sexual abuse. Nathan Hochman, if he really did the hard work, would have read the transcripts and would know that the DA's office back in the 90s argued forcefully that there was no abuse. And in fact, in the second trial, David Kahn, who's no longer with us, who was the DA, called it the abuse excuse and mocked them. So the idea that somehow they're claiming self-defense is fanciful and untrue. He knows that. That's just a soundbite for him. And second of all, the fact that they spent 132 pages basically cut and pasting, if you take a look at the exhibits, the identical exhibits that they filed back in February. The judge already said, hey, that isn't good enough. I'm issuing a formal directive to you to reply. So I'm actually quite hopeful that at this point, if they don't get released on the parole, that their convictions, in fact, will be set aside.
Let me ask you about the timing of this, because you mentioned the parole hearings. Those are scheduled for August 21 and 22. That's just under 2 weeks from today. The 21st is just under 2 weeks. So how does this factor into the parole hearings? Does that impact that at all?
No, not in the least.
Okay.
Although it'll be a lot of the exhibits that they've attached, which are the same things they keep throwing up against the wall, that, by the way, Judge Jessic already rejected when he resentenced them. I would expect that the Board of Parole will do the same thing and reject it. They don't deal with what the issues are. The parole board is going to deal with what have they done since they've been in custody. What are the programs they've done? They're going to talk about Eric's hospice programs, where he is innovatively set in motion hospice programs that are replicated throughout the state. They're going to introduce Lyle's programs about the green space, which is the community areas in the prisons that help in the transition. These guys, for 15 years, when they had no hope, made the right decisions. That's what the parole board's going to look at. The habeas is the conviction itself.
Right.
So it's completely separate.
We have about 30 seconds left, if that. Hochman, he's going to be here with us on Monday. What's your message to him?
Find out where Alex is going.
I'm going to be the third angry man. We're doing a podcast with you and Harvey, I thought.
Since he's obviously abandoned any kind of a realistic answer to our habeas corpus, let him at least try and figure out where Alex is going. He'll have more success doing that.
All right. As always, I appreciate you, Mark Geragos. We'll have you back soon enough.